Because education was so impactful for me, I want the policy landscape as such to make sure that everybody has that opportunity, whether it's college, whether it's some training program. For me, it's making sure that we all find purpose and meaning in our lives. I want everybody to have that opportunity to feel a sense of joy and fulfillment in the work that they're doing, and education can certainly propel people to do that. My name's StevenTaylor, and I work at Stand Together Trust. It's a national impact philanthropy, and I lead our policy work around higher education, workforce development, and economic mobility.
What made you decide to enter the higher education career route?
Yeah, so I started at a community college in Southern California, and I grew up in sort of a traditional blue-collar, sort of working-class family, a construction household. So for me, the idea of doing anything other than community college was just a foreign concept. And so after community college, I thought, all right, I'm going to stay in California, just go to a state school. And then I got a scholarship offer to come to Texas, and went to a little-known East Texas A&M University, finished my degree. But I always actually thought that I wanted to be a city manager. Very specific, very sort of odd career path, but I worked in City Hall while I was in community college and thought that that was just the career path that I would pursue. And when I was at East Texas A&M, worked as an RA, got to know the dean of students and realized there actually is a whole career path in higher education. And then decided from there that I wanted a career in higher education. So my first job out of college was as a hall director. And then worked at a community college in Dallas doing school and community outreach. So I was actually in, sort of Dallas's inner city schools, talking to kids, not about a degree or a career, just the fact that they should be thinking about what they want to do and that education was possible. And so these were kids and families that really were in sort of the lowest income parts of Dallas, who maybe folks hadn't talked to them about college. And so for them, the first time they were hearing about this as a possibility was somebody from the local community college coming to just talk to them about the possibilities ahead of them. So that's sort of where I developed the passion for education.
That's so interesting. Do you feel like it's very full circle for you to come back to doing something that you needed when you were going through education in college?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, growing up, I saw my mom was a secretary, my stepdad was a construction worker. My three siblings, two of them didn't graduate high school. One went into the military. And so for me, it was like, what am I going to do other than community college? Just knowing I wanted to do something, but also thought, it was going to be a struggle. We didn't have money. We didn't have the means. The Pell Grant is really what enabled me to pursue education. And I just wanted to make sure that other young people, young as, K through 12, literally in elementary schools, talking to kids about their dreams and make sure that they knew there wasn't a ceiling on their capability, their capacity, their opportunity. That sort of hit home. And because I think that's foundational to my career, I do keep that in mind as I'm advancing policy, both federal and state, trying to know who we're actually serving. It's not about the kids going to elite universities. It's about making sure that every person has that opportunity to realize their full potential.
Have you ever felt like, because a lot of the people that you tend to work with have gone through these elite routes, have you ever felt like imposter syndrome, I guess?
All the time. I feel like I'm an imposter when I show up to a policy conversation or I'm engaging with folks on the Hill. One of the things about my background is I've never worked in a federal agency, in a state house, on the Hill. My career and what I bring to the table is experience, working with students at higher ed institutions and then in policy organizations. But I don't have direct government experience, and that's where I do feel like an imposter, because I'm showing up, I'm trying to educate folks who do work in state houses or in agencies or on the Hill. And so as I'm doing that, I feel that imposter sense where it's like I'm coming to tell them what they should be doing, and I don't have the experience that they have, but they also don't have my experience. My undergrad, it was not necessarily about the direct degree that I got. So my undergrad was in health education. I've never worked in health education a day in my life. I was passionate and had an interest in that topic, just given my background. So just understanding sort of that health community and the wraparound supports there was important to me. But what was more important was the experiences that I got while in college. So it was working in student government, it was volunteering in the community, it was working part-time and understanding how those opportunities and those experiences could be positioned, and I could use those outside of a higher ed setting to sort of propel me in the workplace. And so that's where I shed that imposter syndrome, is we all have something unique that we show up with, and there is value in that.
What would be your advice for students like me going into education?
Take a breath, I think, as we all need to do, but talk to folks. If you think that you want to go into a career in a certain field, reach out, whether it's an email to a business executive or a small business owner or a professional. I get folks who reach out to me on LinkedIn all the time, and they say, hey, do you have 15 minutes or 30 minutes where we can just have a conversation and we can talk? I've got some questions. But I know that that would have made such an impact on me and could actually help somebody make a really important decision that has dire financial consequences for them. So reach out to folks. Not everybody's going to take that call, but a few will. And that could be really informative. And explore your passion. A lot of times students are looking at the degree that might have the biggest payoff, but find something that you're passionate about. Figure out what's going to give you that sense of purpose. And if you pursue that path, if you go get your degree in health education, because there's a purpose and a passion there, it doesn't mean that you have to go into that field. It means that you have an opportunity to learn, take the experience, and take what you're learning and translate it into different settings. And so don't just chase the money, chase the dream.